Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're continuing Hachzeg's learning of the Pele Yoetz, day number 204. We are in a new chapter, one day, called Divrei Chachamim, the words of the sages, which means Chazal HaKadoshim, the Chachamim, Zichron V'Racha, those are the Chachamim of the Mishnah, the Talmud, Gemara, Sifri, Sifra, Midrashim, Zohar, and the like. It is known that the words of the Chachamim are more chamor, they are more strict than the words of the Torah, which means you have to be more careful to keep the words of the Chachamim than even perhaps the words of the Torah itself. Anybody that transgresses the words of the Chachamim, they deserve the death penalty. Now, Rabbi Yoetz explains in Pirkei Avos, the reason is because if you want to measure a person's Yirah Shamayim, you want to measure their fear of heaven, see how they keep the words of the Chachamim. The Chachamim came along to make fences, to make guards, to make sure that we don't trample on Divrei Torah, on the Deraisa, on the biblical laws of the Torah. And the Chachamim came along in every single gezer, every single decree and takana and law that they made and everything they added. They didn't add on to the Torah. They did it in order to protect us from trampling on the Torah. So if you have real Yirah Shamayim, you have real fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then if the Chachamim with their great Yirah Shamayim is what was motivating them to make all the decrees and all the laws and the halachas that they did, so then someone who upholds the words of the Chachamim shows his real love of Torah. And someone who tramples on the words of the Chachamim shows his lack of love of the Torah. And unfortunately, there are many Amei Aretz, ignorant people. They transgress the words of the Chachamim Chazal because they are so wise in their own eyes. I need Rabbi Akiva to tell me how to live my life. I'm a big Chacham myself. I'll do it on my own. I need Rav and Rabbi to teach me what's the proper halacha over here. I'm a Chacham. I'm a wise man myself. I'll know what to do. Going, for example, he gives over here. If a goy, a non-Jew, milked the cow, and there's no Jew that's around to watch him, to ensure that it's only kosher milk that he's serving over here, it's also you're not allowed to drink that milk because of a chashash, concern that maybe, even though he's serving you a glass of milk, and he says, don't worry, I got it from Bessie, the cow over here, everything is fine. Maybe he put in a non-kosher animal's milk in there as well, and you'll never know. However, those that are pirates, those that break the fences of Chazal, they say, what are we worried about over here? Because maybe there's chalav tummy, there's camel milk in there, there's ostrich milk. What are we worried about over here? We watch, don't worry, we can verify. There's no non-kosher milk in here at all. Everything is just fine. There's no camel milk over here. There's no chazar milk over here. It's only kosher milk. Now the problem is that it's not really true. These people were not really there watching. They were not observing to make sure that the only milk that is being used over here is the milk of kosher animals, and therefore they are judging for themselves, they are deciding for themselves that the proper thing to do is to drink this milk, even though that the milk over here was unguarded, unwatched, and it's chalav stam, which is really chalav akum. It's over here, it's the milk of a non-Jew, and therefore you're not allowed to drink it. That's why we have a mitzvah called chalav Yisrael. Chalav Yisrael means that you have a Jew that was watching over to ensure that cup of cold milk that's going into your cereal in the morning, or that drop of milk that's going to go into your coffee, was only milk from kosher animals. Now, and therefore says the Pele Yoetz, but some people would like to be chachamim in their own eyes. They're smarter, one up on the chachamim Chazal, and they say, nah, not sahadi, we saw, everything is fine. You know, and the fact is they weren't there. They just assume, why would Farmer John not give me a cup of regular cow milk? Why would he want to give me something else? If they would only realize that all of the words of the Chachamim They are alive and they exist. Their words are never cancelled out. They didn't give each person has the right to invent their own Torah the way they want to keep laws. In many places, the Chacham said a lo plug, which means we're not. This is a law across the board for all generations. We're not changing it. And therefore, someone who transgresses the words of the Chachamim, even though that in the reality is in the truth, maybe in fact the glass of milk that they're drinking came from a cow and from a kosher animal. Nevertheless, since that this person is drinking it in the face of the Chachamim and he didn't make it Chal Yisrael to make sure that there was a Jew that was watching and guarding it, so therefore it's as if he's drinking the milk of Nevelus of non-kosher animals. All we have are the words of the Chachamim to live by. Besides the simple explanation that they give of why you have to be concerned that maybe a non-Jew is going to insert non-kosher milk in there, they have many hidden secrets and deeper ideas of why it is that the Chacham say what they say. And therefore, you don't really know the full extent of their gezer, of their decree, and why it is that they're making this decree the way it is. And so, therefore, says the Pele Yoetz, you have to honor and respect the words. The virtue of the upright will guide them. Don't go to the right, don't go to the left. Whatever they said is asur, it's asur. Whatever takana, whatever decree they made, that's the decree. They gave us many pieces of good advice, which are spread out throughout the entirety of the Talmud. The words, the Spirit of Hashem speaks through them in their words. Someone who listens to the words of the Chachamim, he will be able to dwell with security, v'shaked and tranquility, v'sha'ana mipachad ra. He'll be at ease from any evil or any danger. He'll find he'll find grace and good intellect in the eyes of Hashem and other people. And therefore, says the Pele Yoetz, a person has to listen carefully to the words of Chacham. I just want to say parenthetically that in America, if a person is not makpid, is not strict on the halacha of Chalav Yisrael to only drink milk, or they have cheese or ice cream that is Chalav Yisrael, which means that it was milked under the under the supervision of a Jew, even though that is let's say it's a non-Jewish dairy, and it's the non-Jewish farm and the non-Jewish cows, nevertheless, a Jew is watching, and therefore it ensures that it's Chalav Yisrael. In America, we have the heter of Moshe Feinstein, Zatzal, who learns that since that there is the USDA, who is enforcing strong laws against the dairies, and therefore the law is that it has to be 100% cow milk that they are serving. If they would ever get caught putting in some kind of non-kosher animal milk in there, they would put chazer milk in there, camel milk or the like, and they would ever get caught of doing such a thing, they would lose their license. They would have to close down the dairy. They would get a major fine. So therefore, that fear that is instilled in the regular companies here in America as a result of the supervision of the USDA, so therefore, even their milk, although it's not Chalav Yisrael, it's Chalav Stam, it's not Chalav Akum, it's not the milk of Goyim, it's Stam, regular plain milk, which means if a person doesn't hold of Chalav Yisrael, they would be allowed to hold it. And there are many Jews here in America that do not hold of Chalav Yisrael, and they are relying heavily, which they are permitted to, on the opinion of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, the way that he understands the way that the dairies and the companies work over here in America. But in the days of the Pele Yoetz, there was no such thing, and therefore you only knew that the milk was kosher if a Jew saw that it was actually being milked from the cow and went from basically the udders into the hands of the Jewish people. And if not, if you didn't see where it was coming from, and Farmer John wants to give you a glass of milk, how could you ever drink it, says the Pele Yoetz? You don't know that it is kosher. And even if it was only from a cow, Nevertheless, the fact that you transgress the words of the Chachamim, for that a person is going to be considered as if they ate treifus. Now, ukvar yadi asasa v'koichi keeps on divrei hamefuzar in the Talmud. I already have done a great service over here, says the Pele Yoetz. I gathered the words of the Chachamim that is spread out throughout the Talmud, in the Zohar Kadosh, umidrashim, in the Midrash, ushar svarim, and many other svarim, ki yad Hashem, atoiv alai, bekuntris oris elim. Hashem has granted me the opportunity to write a kuntres, to write a work called the Oros Elim, and in there I bring many of the statements of Chazal, their decrees, their advice, so on and so forth. Fortunate is the one who listens to me and reads this kuntres, this pamphlet that I put together. A wise man will take the teaching and he'll add on to it, but he will not transgress. Someone who transgresses the words of the Chachamim, they deserve to have their life taken. Rahman al-Islam. The Chazal are serious. They're like it says in Pele Yoetz over there. Their words are like fiery coals. Be careful not to get burned. Even if this is their only sin. That they did not listen to the good advice and the words of the Chachamim, they deserve lachav b'nafsha. They deserve to have their nefesh, the soul taken. Or mitzvahs lishma divayim, the mitzvah to listen to the words of the Chachamim. Roi shetagen alav. If you listen to their words and you adhere to what Chazal say, then that itself, just listening to what they say, is fitting that you should be guarded. Shetagen alav v'yatzli b'chol drachav. You'll be successful in all of your ways. Amen, says the Pele Yoetz. So it's not a small thing to listen carefully what Chazal say and follow their advice, follow their hadracha, their direction, follow their takanas, their decrees, and the like, and in that way, you'll have hatzlacha in all of drachav, all of your ways. Amen. All the best.